Farming communities from Wairarapa to Wairoa are asking the government to put the brakes on forestry policies. They say put the future of rural settlements at risk. An RNZ investigation has found at least 36,000 hectares of farmland has been sold to forestry in the last 18 months, including highly regarded sheep and beef stations. The government has heavily encouraged new planting through the 1 billion trees program, changes to the emissions trading scheme and a fast track for foreign investors wanting to purchase land for forestry. But as Kate Newton reports, rural settlements say the policies are having unintended social consequences.
Over the last year, Tararua farmer Amy Weston has been watching the neighbours on her isolated rural road dwindle, replaced instead with pine trees.
We've got one neighbour who has sold the front half of his property off and he has planted the back half. The neighbour next door has completely gone. His whole property has been sold into new hands. The other neighbours run a rather large station and they have planted a substantial amount of land, so that means that they've pretty much dropped a labour unit.
Mrs Weston says 3 families have gone from the road in a year, including half a dozen children. She and her husband Brent are now wondering about their young family's future, whether they should sell up as well or stay to watch the trees grow around them.
We were thinking about building a new house and now we're like, do we really want to overcapitalise this place? Because we haven't really made a set decision on what we're going to do yet. You know, just little things like, do we fix that fence? Do we keep going with the plans we had, or do we go, maybe we should just stop and reconsider those ideas? So it's probably put a great level of uncertainty into what we're going to do going forward.
Mrs Weston is also worried about the services they might lose.
Because there's less people, one of our fears is that, once a power pole falls over, there's going to be no interest in fixing it. It's just going to be, you have to get a generator.
Tararua's Mayor, Tracy Collis, has been keeping track of farm properties in the district that are sold and then either partly or completely planted in pines. Since May 2018, 35 properties, covering nearly 17,000 hectares, have been converted.
So in the 12 months prior to the current boom that we're seeing, there were only 4 farm sales into forestry. So the alarming matter is that this has happened so fast and people just don't know when it's going to stop.
Mrs Collis says the population drop in some of the smaller settlements, like Pongaroa or Tiromea, is hugely concerning.
Those are jobs that are gone. Those productive sheep and beef properties, they have staff on them, they have fencing contractors, they have shearers, they support a lot of other businesses.
Other people, including a teacher from one of the local primary schools, have also moved away because their partners have lost farming jobs. Up the line in Wairoa, forestry investors have bought about 9,000 hectares of land. Wairoa's Mayor, Craig Little, says forestry will not be able to replace the local farming jobs that are lost.
When I say there's no jobs, I mean that. You travel from Napier to Wairoa or Gisborne to Wairoa and probably 5 or 6 o'clock you pass all these vans of workers going back to Napier, and the logs get put on a truck and hello, they've gone to the port or gone to Panpack, the local mill down in Napier. How are we benefiting? And we're not.
Farm consultancy Baker Ag concluded in a recent report that in Wairoa at least, forestry generates the most value for landowners but creates fewer local jobs and less direct spending than sheep and beef farming. But the land use manager for Masterton-based forestry consultancy Forest 360, Stuart Orme, says he's worried the backlash could blind farmers to the opportunity of having it both ways by using 1 billion trees grants to plant less productive parts of their own properties.
All of a sudden there's a whole lot of money on the table, so it doesn't have to cost anything. They step into a carbon income and they can get these trees in the ground and still carry on farming. Because the other option is they go, it's all too hard, my farm value's just gone up because there's competition, and they sell it and it turns into a forest, and we start seeing good farms disappear.
Tracy Collis and Craig Little say they met with the Minister of Forestry and Regional Development, Shane Jones, earlier this year, but are yet to hear anything back from his office. Mō te hōtaka o te ahiahi, ko Kate Newton tēnei.
And you can read more on the Green Rush series in the in-depth section on RNZ's website, rnz.co.nz.